This is where we're at. As I promised, I am finishing the assembly of the bottom end of the H22. Today I have received the oil pump, as you guys can see in this box. Brand new oil pump with a whole bunch of brand new gaskets. I got also some gasket maker. In addition to some black gasket maker, I got some polyurethane adhesive, which I will be trying to reinforce my technically one of my side engine mounts and the tranny, I guess that the tranny mount at the end of the block. And the reason why I want to do that is because I did try to reinforce one of them that was actually cracked with this, and I ordered a new one at the same time, and I ended up not putting the new one on the block because the one that I added some polyurethane in it, once it was dried, it wasn't hard rock solid, but it was flexing enough to still remain solid, and the engine didn't have too much movement on that side. So I went to try all three engine mounts with some polyurethane in there to actually see what it's going to do. This is like a $10 bottle, so worst case it will have cost me like $15-20 or something like that to do all three mounts. And you know, it might last or it might not last. If it doesn't last, I'll just change it to some new mounts, but I wanted to give it a shot, do a little DIY on that, and see what comes out of it. In any case, so what I'll get to right now is I have to figure out, so this has to be removed first of all. So the pump is all here and there, so I have to remove this, pull the balancer shaft out, remove this with a key pin, remove the tensioner, remove the top here, and pull everything out, see what comes out of it. I have never done this, so we'll give that a shot, and shouldn't be too complicated. Got some gasket maker as well that I'll be able to pull it around. It's gonna be all nice and shiny once it's done. And then once this is done, I will put the pistons and the rods inside the block. I will torque them to spec. Then the next thing is I will drill the oil pan, put the bung on it, be able to drill the oil pan down with the oil pan gasket that I have right there, which is still really good. Flywheel, clutch, and most of it will go back into the car tomorrow. So not sure if I can make this one video and another video of me putting everything in the car, depending on how much content I have right now, but I'll get started. Brand new water pump's already on it, the tube is there, the oil cooler is there, everything is in there, so should be more than good to go. So I'll get to it. So here's a little discovery. So it seems like this balancer shaft does get pulled out. However, this one is attached to this little guy. So what I might do is wonder if I should just remove these. You know what, I'll leave them because they're probably torqued to spec quite good. I don't want to mess around with them. This one seems to be pulling out. This one seems to be attached by that. So I'll just try to remove those two, or maybe three. No, only two 10mm bolts, and hopefully it's going to be able to slide out. Had to pause the video. I was looking for a 10 mil and as usual can't find any of them, but I did manage, like I said, to remove those two screws and pull out the balancer shafts with the old oil pump. So I'll be cleaning all of that up, cleaning all of the gasket maker and all of the crap. So it's good that I did that. However, so that you guys know, there's no way to pull out the balancer shafts from this side, because see, this is too big, that's too big. So you are obligated to actually remove this one and that one and retorque them afterwards so you can pull the balancer shafts from the bottom. So anyways, that's what I'll do now, is that I'll be cleaning up the block with the razor blade, with some brake cleaner and all of that. Remove all of the stuff from the old water, from the old oil pump, all of that. Luckily I have brand new gaskets and everything with the new one, and I'll be transferring it back on so that we can tighten it, everything. And this is so that you guys know, the water pump is actually the oil pump. I need to stop saying water pump. Water pump, oil pump, oil pump. So water pump, oil pump. So the oil pump is actually, so the water pump, let's say, the water pump is actually operated by one of the belts that you have here. However, the oil pump is operated by this little notch and that little notch that goes inside here and there, that makes the oil pump spin. Good thing to know about this is that oil pumps don't create oil pressure. A lot of people talk about lack of oil pressure inside of an engine. The oil pump will circulate oil, however the pressure is actually created by the little squirts that you have at the end of these little tips. So if ever you have an oil pickup that goes from this big to a small little output big like that, the oil pressure will definitely be higher. However, it doesn't mean that that oil pump is actually creating the pressure itself. It's really the fact that the hoses are reducing from big to small that it's creating some pressure in there. Sure, it is creating a bit of pressure because it's rotating faster, but that's not necessarily what is creating your 80 psi of oil pressure. So anyways, I'll get back to this, get back to that, reassemble everything, and I'll give you guys an update. Oil pump, old tensioner, not tensioner, but balancer shaft thingy. We are at this stage where I RTV'd around the entire the new oil pump, all of it. I did also include some of the new gaskets. The RTVs there just for, you know, safety so that it doesn't leak anywhere. I did install the crank position sensors that we have here. Oh, this one looks kinked. I don't know if that's normal. Huh. I'll have to research that, because if that's not supposed, that doesn't look like it's supposed to be kinked. Crap. So might need to get a new crank position sensor. Actually, maybe I have one in one of the boxes, so replace that, because this does not seem normal. This one's good, but they all come in one wire. Anyways, I need a bolt for this guy, which is currently missing. This is the manual tensioner. Little pulley here, brand new. Water pump, brand new. Everything's tightened. Found a problem with the balancer shaft, this one. It's grinding on one of the bearings. So I wasn't thinking about running the belt of the balancer shafts regardless. What I might end up doing is I might get a delete kit for it, which is like 150 bucks, but for the time being I'm just not going to put the belt, because I'm afraid that the bearing's actually going to chew on the inside, create some metal shavings and break the block. So won't put the balancer belt on it. However, I'm at the stage of putting the pistons back in. Once the pistons are back in, I'll be able to flip it over, put the oil pump in a pickup, and hopefully seal the pan. So I'll get to reassembling the bearings, flip it around, tap them in with this little guy, and we'll have a block that should make some compression if you stick your hand in it. So we'll see. Too fast, too furious. So I wanted to write down something on the pistons, just for the sake of it, and know which piston is what. Anyways, it's done. It's torqued down. I think they did 43 foot-pound. I'll have to research it inside just to make sure this is correct. It says on 3.8 ARP 2000 volts that it should be that. So hopefully that's okay. If not, I'll have to get on it and give it some slack. But the crank is spinning. It's not spinning as freely as I would want to with one hand because it's now creating compression. So that's another thing that I'll have to take a look. Like, I can spin it freely for sure. It's just, it does need, you know, two hands with the pistons and the rods and everything moving on the inside. It's all like spinning like a free camshaft. But what I wanted to do is, I was thinking that before I give up for tonight, I will show you guys the engine bay that I have started painting and wire tucking some of the stuff. Second, so there it is. This is the engine bay. It's getting ready to take the new block. A few things that I still want to do, which is I deleted the power steering, so I cut this. It's going to be rerouted. I'll have to fix this, reroute it up there, so that there's still some oil in the power steering, because otherwise it's gonna the rack and pinion is gonna seize, even though there's, you know, there's always got to be oil in there for sure. So that's done. There's certain vacuum lines that I'll have to delete, and now what I want to do before I go to bed is grab this guy and pour it inside the engine mount here. And actually, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to this one, but so maybe not this one, but at the very least to this one. The front one's already done, and this one's a big one like that, which is quite solid, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem. I really wish I could get, I'll probably have to remove the bracket. I definitely want to get to the back one. It's the back one that creates kind of the little torque there. So I'll get to that. I'll pour some of this in it, let it dry until tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we're going to be able to grab the block and drop it in there. So, the urethane in here, in there, same thing for this guy. Does have some on both sides. It is definitely not the prettiest job. However, for the cost, like I said, I want to give it a shot, really see what's going to happen. If it's too stiff, it's definitely not good. If it's not stiff enough, if it's flexing the engine, I'd say that's even worse. But we'll see once we turn on the engine. Anyways, it's getting quite dark outside, so I'll probably just go ahead and close this stuff, grab all of the stuff, put it inside the house that I need to put inside the house, lock things up, and tomorrow we'll be back at it. Tomorrow what I'll do is I'll grab the pan, drill the pan, put the bung, seat the pan, grab the block the way it is, put in the car, because we're going to be lifting this with our hands, with straps. Once it's on the car, we'll have enough space to put the flywheel, torque it down properly, put the engine mount. Once that is done, put the tranny. I'll put the tranny on while the head is not on. It's going to be so much easier once the tranny is on. Head gasket, ARP head studs, all of that funky stuff, and man, I hope we'll get this running by, say, next week or something like that. Oh, the other thing that I'm waiting for is the Woodruff pin that you have here. This one was cut a while back. It lasted, but for $7 I ordered a new one. And also the crank bolt here that Honda called me today. Apparently they got it. So this is the H22A4, which is a 55mm bolt. As you can see, does not fit. It is too big. So we ordered the one that is for the 50mm crank, which is the one that we have. So any case, that is it for today. I'll be closing shop. I'll be closing everything. Shop, right? Get it? Shop. Anyways, I'll be doing that, locking the car and everything. And you know, maybe I'll edit tonight. Maybe I won't, and I'll post it tomorrow. No, you know what? I'll edit tonight. I'll post it tonight. That way tomorrow's going to be a whole new video. Anyways, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, subscribe, send your comments. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.